because they all vary a little bit. And we're going to start off with Northfield Village, Ward A Council. There's two candidates running, and there's one seat open. And unfortunately, one candidate could not make it due to work. Mark Apanya could not make it. So we're going to have our first candidate that's here today is Alan Hips, and he will be speaking to us in regards to his candidacy. Let's welcome Alan. And I forgot one important thing that I've already reviewed with all the candidates. I will be timing this, and you will have 5 minutes. At 4 minutes, I will be sitting right over here. I will stand up, and you'll have 1 minute to close. And then at 5 minutes, I will pull you off the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. Afternoon. Thank you for hosting this event. My name is Alan Hips. I was born and raised in Clearfield, Pennsylvania, a place known for its small-town values. Began calling Ohio home after being accepted into the architecture program at Kent State. You may ask, why is Alan running for council? The answer is very simple. Everything I've learned, everything that I do daily in the architecture industry is to create strong infrastructure, strong village, strong community, and strong projects. Now you may ask, how can a 29-year-old professional change his village? Council meetings, block watch events, and planning commission meetings are just the tip of the iceberg. I believe I can do more. I believe I should do more. I believe in discovering firsthand the needs of the village from current leaders and everyday citizens, converting those needs to something real. I do this every day in the world of architecture, listening closely to clients, creating sensible solutions while balancing the project budget. I can help Northfield do this. Citizens deserve to be proud of their house, of their neighborhood, and their community. Northfield Village has a bright future once we realize all the decisions we make in the village lead us to a value we forget most, community pride. Community pride is an investment, and it ensures our residents will stay. It ensures our children will start families of their own here. It ensures local business will have success and be appreciated. No one is interested in investing in a place where the residents are indifferent about it. The village, with the capital V, is who makes us lead past these indifferences. In talking with parents, business owners, and local leaders and residents, I discovered that the foremost concern of our citizens is the lack of communication and mystery in the government. The village needs to take the lead, not only inform the residents about their lives and what's going to affect them, it will help them be proud in their village. Citizens should not have to play detective to figure out what is going on their block. The council person's responsibility is to communicate the projects and issues, big or small, that affect you. Once the mystery is removed of the government, people will be happy to have you represent them. They'll be happy and proud in the village. Roads, infrastructure projects, and maintenance are the responsibility of the government. They're an investment in our community. The village should be proactive about confronting these issues. Green infrastructure is not a trend. It is an approach that entire communities choose to maintain healthy waters, energy efficiency, and clean air. We can decide as a community if these issues are important to us and our children. Only we can define the type of village we want to live in. Green infrastructure would cut the operating costs of the village, and the upfront costs can be mitigated with grants and tax incentives. Think of Northfield like the town Radiator Springs in the movie Cars. 271 allows everybody to pass by without stopping. The Roxino can change that. It is our Lightning McQueen and will bring new people and energy into the area. The Roxino and associated TIF money will provide power to promote and build strong small businesses that allow beautification of our city streets, and the new Roxino should be seen as an asset to bolster our local business. The Roxino should be seen as supporting the village, not defining it. Block Watch program should be more than crime prevention. The program should aim higher and broader to include creation of an organization or partnering with an organization to help with delinquent homes and housing. It should aim to better light our streets and do it sustainably. It should advocate for increased speed enforcement on side streets. It should increase awareness and education for every citizen. Every resident will be empowered to take ownership in their village, and that is the missing social infrastructure that cannot be ignored any further. Northfield has a small town advantage. No matter how you travel, you're capable of reaching every business within a 5-minute walk. Believing in the village is what leads to community pride. Why can we not create programs in our village for children in the parks to retain knowledge of their summer vacation? Why can we not make block parties and ward parties the norm, not the exception? Why can we not have festivals for residents to garden and landscape for competition? Northfield needs a council person that does not wait for the issue to drop in their lap. If elected, I will take a proactive approach. I will not be in the shadow, filling a seat. Residents will not be left wondering what the council member does. I aim to redefine the role, to do more than collect comments and pass them up the chain of command. All these ideas are now possible if I'm elected as Ward A councilman. Thank you for all your time this afternoon. If you'd like, I'd open the floor for questions.
We're going to do that after every speaker has a chance to speak.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alan. Ward B has one seat open, and at this time there's nobody filed running for Ward B. So if you want to do a write-in candidate, it's there. Moving on to Northfield Village Ward C, there's one seat open. We have 2 candidates running, and our first candidate is John Schleter. Let's welcome John.
Thank you very much, and I would like to say I really think this is a great program to have us come up and to share, and I've gotten to meet some people I didn't know, and it's really an honor to be able to speak to you and just to kind of to share a little bit about me. I've been married for 45 years and happily married for 45 years. And also, I've kind of a unique situation because I've been a minister and worked with churches and communities for 46 years. And I've been able to see a lot of things through those different years. And so you have papers right there that tell a little bit about what I'm going to do, my education, objectives, experience. But today what I would like to do is take a good look at those areas of importance down there. Because those are the areas that we really need to work on. The first thing, I think a lot of times we think that money is the biggest problem and the biggest challenge that we have. But yet, as I've had experience with communities and churches, I realize that there are things that are more important than money. And one of the things is that our residents need to feel safe and secure. Again and again and again, as I talk to residents, the first thing that they tell me is they want to be able to be in a community where their children and their families can flourish, where they can feel safe and secure. And that's very important to them. And so as we take a look at that, we realize that that is the big picture, and everything else goes into that. So we take a look, and we want to have great neighborhoods where kids can grow up and have parks and places where people can really feel that's home. So in order to do that, we have to have safety. And we're going to continue extensive training in our police and our fire department. One of the things that we have is an extensive training program with our police, and as a new person comes in, they are with a policeman for X amount of time, and they're trained. And I would say that I'm really impressed at the quality of people that are working in this area. And with our firemen, it's the same thing. Recently we had promotions, and it was decided that, well, who is going to be promoted, and what is the fair way to do that? And we outsourced that, and they had to study, had to learn, they had to take interviews, they learned a lot about themselves, and we want to continue in that kind of a program because we want to have a safe community. Now the next thing is providing infrastructure such as roads, sewers, and parks. Now that's a real challenge to us. At Northfield, we've been in a situation where we could do a road once a year, maybe 2 roads a year if we were lucky. We had to get a grant. We're still paying for roads. And this is an area that needs a lot of attention. And with the Hard Rock Cafe Racino coming, that is an area where we have decided a lot of the money and the resources is going to go. So we have a 10 to 15 year program deciding on how the money comes in as to which roads and which ones will be done. And the roads will be taken up, and there'll be brand new roads, brand new sewers, brand new curbs. And our residents are excited about that, and we hope that we can continue with that. The next thing is good communication. Now, Alan mentioned that, and I think that's important. And I could see as I was on council for 2 years that, you know, like, people had a lot of questions. And so on the back of your paper, if you would look, I was so used to putting out church papers, I said, you know, we need to put out some type of a village newsletter. I had seen them in the communities that I worked in, and I said, you know, we need to do that. And so with me and council president got together, this is the second one. And you see, one of the things that we see is that the mayor was able to write about some things, construction projects. People thought we were widening the highways instead of putting sewers in. The finance director said, you know, here's a question we're getting asked all the time. We pay a sewer bill from Cleveland, why do we pay a Northfield? And just a lot of different things along that line. So we hope that the communication will continue. We want to be fiscally responsible and accountable, and we want to look to the future. We are negotiating with property adjacent to us. We know that it may be 10, 15, 20 years, but we want to be able to build a center where we can have our business and it be really, really nice. And so we have really had to work hard, up our game, with the Racino coming in, and yet we're doing everything that we possibly can to make Northfield a wonderful place. Because I have said, and as I conclude, to hold our traditional values while embracing the future with its challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next candidate running for Ward C is Gary Botosh. Gary?
I have some notes, sorry. First off, my name is Gary Voitush. I'm running for Ward C for council in Northfield Village. I'd like to thank you all on the Rotary here for asking me here for this luncheon and giving me a chance to talk. Give you a little background on myself. I'm 52, well, I will be 52 years old next week. Grew up in Northfield Center. I've lived here for approximately, on and off, probably about 45 years of my life. I believe in the communities, I believe in the Nordonia Hills area as a whole, and I think there's a lot of good things we can do for it. I've been in the village for 14 years, where I live with my wife and my 2 twins. Well, of course they're 2, but the twins, they'll be 4 in 2 weeks. My son's autistic, so he's a little bit of a challenge for us. I have 2 older children. One is attending Akron University, one's attending Kent State University. And my oldest son is a teacher for Constellation Schools up in Cleveland. So very proud of my family. My wife of 7 years, she's a great person to be there to take care of the children for me. Couldn't do it without her. I'm also a full-time firefighter paramedic for the city of Parma. I've been there for 19 years. I love my job. I started in public service back in 1990. I started with the city of Aurora. I was there for 12 years, and from the city of Aurora, I also went into full-time with the city of Parma. And I moved into Northfield Village, which I've been there for about 14 years now. And I decided, why don't I get a little involved in Northfield Village? So I ended up joining the fire department, which I spent 12 years there. The last 9 years that I was there, I was fire chief. My duties included the budget, which every year I balanced my budget while I was there. Didn't have any problems with that whatsoever. But I want to get re-involved. The last year has brought me back to my family and a little bit of my roots, and I firmly believe in our community, and I want to put forth a lot of effort. Quite honestly, if I lived in Allen's ward, I'd vote for him. He sounds beautiful. You know, we all have the same concerns. We all have the same concerns all the way through. The funding, the fiscal responsibility that everybody's going to have, the amount of money that's coming in with the Hard Rock Casino, and we would all like to do a lot of things. We'd all like to upgrade the village, but I'd like to see it done in a way that it prospers everyone here. We're not just Northfield Village, we're a Nordonia Hills community. I think working together that we can all accomplish that. I think everybody could benefit from the Hard Rock Casino coming, I really do. We're worried about infrastructures, everyone's worried about infrastructure. So I think the biggest thing we're watching is the funding, and as my opponent mentioned, we're looking at communication also. For many years, and as long as I've been in the village, there has been no communication, okay? While I decided to run for council this year, and while I was going around trying to get all my signatures for it, the biggest thing that everybody kept asking me was, we don't know anything about what is going on in the village. We don't know who our council members are. We don't know anything about the village. My biggest thought, and what I'm going to pursue, is I'm only one vote on council if I make it in, okay? I'm there representing the citizens, and that's why I want to join. I want to be able to make a difference for my residents. Some of you may have noticed that I have a Masonic pin on my jacket here, and I am a Mason, I am a Shriner, belong to the local Moose Lodge there, I do things there. So I'm a family-oriented type of person, and I feel that my neighbor is kind of like my family. There isn't anything that I wouldn't do for anybody that comes to me and says, hey, can you help me? I belong to a hunting club. We take handicapped children hunting all over the United States, and I have a great time. But, the kids have great faces. But working with the rest of council, I hope that we can help improve the area. And like I said, not only Northfield Village, because it does need to improve, not only our residential area, our business area, but the surrounding communities. And if we all do work together, that really shouldn't be a problem. It really shouldn't at all. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to come up and speak. I do have the same issues as John and Alan have with the infrastructure, the police department, the fire department. I could talk for a very long time on those. Being as though I was the fire chief, I know a lot of ins and outs about that. But once again, thank you very much. If you have any questions for me, please ask away. I have some cards if you guys would like cards, and you can call me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Ward D has one seat open, and at this point, there have been no candidates there, so there's another place if you want to be written in. Moving on to Ward D, wait a minute, I'm sorry. That was it, Ward D. Moving on to Northfield Center Township, there are 2 seats open at this time, 4 candidates running, 2 of which are incumbents, and our first candidate to speak is going to be, our first candidate that was on my list is not here, Paul Busher, thank you, due to work conflicts. The second candidate also had conflict, Russ Mazzola. And the third candidate, Brett Summer, who's also incumbent, also had a work conflict. So our fourth candidate, who is here, is Jordan Warfield. Please welcome Jordan.
Hi, thank you all for being here today and inviting me to speak. Again, my name is Jordan Warfield, and I'm running for Township Trustee here in Northfield Center. Grew up in Sagamore Hills, went to Ohio State University, moved back here with my wife. In 2009, we live in the Rolling Brook development off of Twinsburg Road, and we're expecting our first child, a boy, the end of the month, and we're it was another excuse for me to get involved and get involved in our community. Why I'm running for trustee is just, pretty simple, because I think it's time for a new voice and new ideas and new energy for our township. If you've seen my flyer when you walk in, it's not just a catchphrase. I believe those three things are lacking currently in our township. And just touch base on those three things. It's not my voice that wants to be heard. I believe it's the voice of our residents and our small businesses that has not been heard for the past few years with our current administration. And since moving back in 2009, I've had an opportunity to work in government at the county level, the state level, and the federal level with Congressman LaTourette. I'm happy to announce that I have earned Congressman LaTourette's endorsement for the work we were able to do for residents in the congressional district and small businesses when they reached out and needed our assistance when dealing with federal agencies such as the VA, the EPA, and IRS, and countless other agencies. There's plenty to list off. So I was happy to be able to have a chance to work with hundreds of residents and businesses to get things done, and that's what I want to do if elected to the township as a trustee. I want to be a resource for the community and offer that experience and knowledge of working with those different levels of government, and have a vision for the future of the township. Right now, there currently is no strategic plan for the township and moving forward with roads and infrastructure. I know we have several issues regarding our portion of Route 82 being a traffic congestion and our intersection, poorly graded by ODOT, just above a failing grade from ODOT. So those are things that we need to address and look to. Currently, I'm the Assistant Director for Economic Development and Planning for the City of Stowe. So I would also like to bring that experience in writing that plan and ensuring the well-being of our future, of our residents and our businesses. So with that being said, I appreciate your consideration come November, and I look forward to being your next trustee, and happy to answer any questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Moving on to the Sagamore Hills Township trustees, we have 2 seats open, one incumbent running, and he will be our first candidate to speak, who is Richard Barrett. Richard.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to come to the Rotary Club to speak. Unfortunately, it was 4 years ago that I came, but nobody wanted to invite me, and we got a couple of your members are very active in our community. Doc, would you stand up? Doctor, would you stand up just for a second? I'd like to see the type of members that you have that are connected with our community. They're great guys, and they're doing a job right now in our zoning. And I've had an opportunity to work with them. Of course, I'm Richard Barrett, and somebody mentioned about being married 42 years. I've been married 52 years this month. I got to remember October 21st. I've lived in Sagamore for 42 years. And I can only relate to marriage is like a deck of cards. In the beginning, it's hearts and diamonds. And at the end, it's spades and clubs. So, the other day I was cleaning out my office at home, and I came across a Maple Heights Press article. And I was on the front page with it, and with a sponsor was Joe Aymar, who used to be a teacher in Maple Heights. He was my sponsor, and I was a Rotarian, and I was receiving my 3rd year perfect attendance award. And they put it on the front page of the paper. So I'm very familiar with the Rotary, and it's a great organization. Like I said, I've lived in Sagamore for 42 years. All 3 children went through the Nordonia Hills school system. went on to college and graduated, thank God, and didn't have any debt. That was, of course, quite a while ago. Lois and I are active in the community. I've been your trustee in Sagamore for 12 years. It started all, well, early in the 2002, I think it was, and it's really been a pleasure. There are three things in my life that I look at as accomplishments for me personally. The first thing is that I was elected president of my high school graduation class in Maple Heights. That really did an impact for me. The second thing is, of course, being married 52 years to my wife. And how she puts up with me, I don't know. And the third thing that's really important to me, that I'm of service to my community. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing the work. I really like it. And I'm hoping to get reelected because there are plans that we have for the future for our community that I would like to continue. As you all know, Rosemary Snell resigned. And I got to tell you honestly, it's a big loss to us. She was very active. You know the money she brought in. Even though I got some money from Steve Autorette for the Park Road, we're going to miss her. And, you know, fortunately, unfortunately, not how you look at it as a candidate. She will be on the ballot. But they're supposed to do, because she didn't resign in time to this and that. And we're going to miss her. We really are. Was a big asset. Some of the activities that I'm involved in, I have to put my glasses on for this one. I'm the director of the Nordonia's Baskets of Hope. That was started by Bob Bolton, who owns Wendy's in Macedonia. And currently we supply school supplies and school lunches to students in the Nordonia Hills School District. It's a very special thing and I enjoy it. The other thing I'm proud of, I served 3 years on active duty in the United States Marine Corps. I'm a die-hard Marine, guys. So, you know, it's important to me. I was president and CFO of Robert Steel Company, president of Steel Tech of Ohio, national director of Steel Center Institute. All these things you can read on the back of the card, because I saw out of the corner of my eye somebody stood up, so I want to bring it to a close. Again, thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to come here, because I see a lot of my friends, people I work with, and people from our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richard. The next candidate on my list could not make it here due to work conflict, David D. Basquel. I may have butchered that name a little bit, but I'm sorry. The next candidate after that is Paul Schweiker. Please welcome Paul.
You know, being the last guy asked to speak is a lot like being Elizabeth Taylor's 8th husband on a honeymoon night. I know what I'm supposed to do, I just don't know if I can make it interesting. Well, when I first started, I think a candidate should run on their record. When I first started as an elected official, we had $8,400 in our general fund, and then 16 years later, when I stepped down, we had nearly $3.2 million in the general fund. And we did it all without raising taxes. And I was really proud of the way the board came together in addressing that. Other communities used to talk about fiscal responsibility. We actually practiced it. Some of the highlights that we had in the 16 years that I served as a township trustee, in '92 we prevented the state of Ohio from turning the Children's Psychiatric Hospital into housing for convicted juvenile felons. We started a petition drive, and then within 6 weeks we put the kibosh on that. Shortly thereafter, we had to address the Eaton Estates. It was a proposed PUD, and at the time they were talking about possibly annexing to Macedonia or Northfield, and we were able to resolve that and keep the Eaton Estates in our community. In '97, we purchased the township park. We got it for $180,000, 36 acres. And in '98, we went to our residents and we asked them if they wanted to go for a 1 mil levy for 5 years to form a block of 380 acres that would forever be green space, and they approved that. So those were some of the highlights, the early years when I served in office. What's on the agenda in this next term? The state of Ohio has taken monies from the 88 counties. There's over 900 cities and villages in Ohio. There's over 1,300 townships, and there's over 625 school districts. The state of Ohio has taken a lot of their local funding, and they're using it now on their projects. They haven't cut the spending. So what they're doing, everybody talks about infrastructure, they're putting the squeeze on the smaller entities. And I guess one of the challenges we have in the next 4 years is we're going to have to manage the money we have without going out for a levy. And I think we can do it. We've got a good rainy day fund. And I think if it's managed wisely, there's no reason that we would need to go to our residents for additional funding. And then another issue I think is important is recently there was a proposal to buy some land on Dunham Road, the old children's psychiatric site. It's a 93-acre site. And the developer was talking about high-density apartments. I'm in opposition to that. I believe in a one home, 1 acre. It's something we worked on in 87, 88. And I said the other night on cable TV, if you like the way that Sagamore Hills looks, you can thank our zoning commission. And we do have 2 members here today. We have Pete Lachinas, a member. We have Dwight Chaucer. We have Dr. Woodruff, Dr. Conkle, and Dennis Wickowitz. But those gentlemen together have really held our community together through the zoning, the one home, 1 acre. And I think it's a concern with people, and I think they need to allay their fears that if I'm elected, I will support that. And in fact, in 2003, we had a similar proposal that came before the board. And there, they wanted to put 90-some apartments on Route 82. Zoning really wasn't for it. They said so. It came to the board. And we upheld that. It's today they call it Silverleaf. It's a nice residential development on Route 82, and it's 1 home, 1 acre. So I think as we look toward the future, what's it bring? We want to stick to our zoning, and we want to maintain the fact that people know that we're not going to have taxes. And a little bit about me, I've been married 34 years. I have 4 children. I've served as trustee representative to the police department, to the road department, a sewer board member, stormwater board member, Time Warner board member, the Northfield Macedonia Cemetery board member. I've had my hands in a lot of different committees that I've actively attended, and if I get elected, I intended to fulfill those duties for the next 4 years, and I want to thank the Rotary for inviting me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Seeing that it's 1 minute to 1 and we have a strict rule of being out of here at 1 o'clock, I know all the candidates here would like to answer any questions you may have. I'm sure they'll be available after the meeting. I have one other housekeeping item to take care of. One of the candidates that were up here dropped a $10 bill. So if this is your $10 bill, it is right here.
That's what you asked me to pay. So just put it in the jar.
Okay, we'll put it in change for charity, thank you. And I appreciate all the candidates coming out. It was good to hear what everybody's about. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to our president, Sylvia Hannigan.
Folks, for those that can stay, I'd actually like to talk to the candidates a little bit more. But if you have, we have the adjournment at 1 o'clock, which it is right now. So we're going to adjourn the meeting, but I'm very interested in hearing a few more things from the candidates. So anybody wants to stay, we're happy you're going to stay. Thank you very much, and we're adjourned.